Now let's examine the Jesus story in the context of the Scripture. Let's look at the literal nativity, because an examination of the Bible actually raises a whole lot of interesting questions. Now the Bible is God's perfect Word, right? In fact, if you go to the mission statements of most major Protestant Bible-believing denominations, they'll just say it outright. The Bible is inerrant. It is God's perfect Word. It is without contradiction. But if you look at the accounts in the book of Matthew and Luke side by side, they kind of contradict themselves. Check this out. In the book of Matthew, the angel appeared to Joseph to give him the news that Mary would give birth to the Christ child. But Luke tells us that the angel appeared to Mary, not Joseph. Luke chapter 2 says that Mary and Joseph traveled to Bethlehem from their home in Nazareth. But that contradicts the second chapter of Matthew, which says Mary and Joseph didn't call Nazareth home until after the death of Herod, which is also well after the birth of Jesus. The lineage of Jesus is mentioned in the Bible. The book of Matthew lists 28 generations between David and Jesus. But the book of Luke has its own reference to Christ's lineage, and it lists 41 generations. According to Matthew and Luke, Jesus was born during the reign of Herod the Great. But Luke says that the pregnant Mary had to travel with Joseph to register for a census that was decreed by Quirinius. And that's weird because any census would have taken place in their local tax district, requiring no travel. And only Joseph, the head of house, would have been required to register. And if you look at the dates, Quirinius' census didn't take place until 6 CE. Well after the birth date for Jesus Christ. Matthew tells us that after Jesus was born, Mary and Joseph fled for Egypt to hide from the evil king Herod. But if you look at the book of Luke, it has them returning immediately to Galilee, to Nazareth, and there is no mention of Herod anywhere. What about the miraculous virgin birth? Well, it looks like there was a mistranslation of the word virgin from the Hebrew to the Greek. The Hebrew word alma does not mean virgin. It means a young woman of marriageable age. By the way, several pagan gods which predate Jesus were also said to have miraculous virgin births, like Perseus and Romulus. What about the three kings? Well, Matthew tells us they were magi, which were essentially illusionists, and there's no mention of the number 3 anywhere in the story. And the whole magi thing doesn't jive with Luke's version, which has shepherds visiting Christ and not magi.